Okay, hello. How are we doing? It should all be working fine. Let's find out. Yeah. What's that? What's wrong? What noise? Okay. Ah, gotcha. Fair enough. Fair enough. I don't think I'm awake enough yet. Um, well, I managed to press the button again. That's a progress. That is progress indeed. Uh, why are you running? You shouldn't be running. What if I shut it down while I was running? That's interesting. Well, thank you. I cool. No worries. So it's going to take a while for me to get the stream running well, um, from a development perspective. I have had to change a lot to do what I needed to do. Um, I'm having a lot of software to support remote development. Um, I am, yeah. So things are the stream's up and running, but you can see there's a lot of pieces that are just not smooth yet. So we'll get there. So as I've said in the comments in Discord, I've changed the entire stream setup to try and support remote dev, which means that I can run on less power. I can also put the development machine um, in a different, the host for the development in a different room if I need to, so I can have power and stuff more stable there. Um, yeah, so yeah. And Dota, thank you very much for 32 months. Um, that's incredible. Appreciate it. Thank you. Thank you for your continued support, even when there's been long gaps. Um, okay, so that was this time. That was just a timing thing, I'm going to assume. So what I'm trying to get up and running is I'm trying to get um, the application to start to do all the right communication, to do all the right things to actually get into Kaizu. I've made significant changes, and I got halfway through this, and I started getting this dread that I had left changes sat on the other machine. So I'm just waiting for a cool day so I can actually uh, check to see if I had a bunch of stuff sat waiting on there, which is probably not the best thing, but such is the power situation. So in the meantime, what I'm doing is I've branched off of the branch I was on, and I'm kind of making all the changes to make the remote development natural thing. Some things that I don't like, I now basically define all the connection strings and stuff in the app post, which is not bad because it means that I can pass the same variables. I can set up a set of variables for each piece and pass it in, but it means that the individual applications need to have these need to be changed to these, and it just gets a little messy to be able to run independently. So I'm still learning more about what that looks like. But basically, the app host now, um, I create the secret every time I start up. So the internal auth token that's generated, the JWT that's generated, is generated when the actual stack starts up, and that's what gets used to communicate with individual APIs. Kind of structured the app modules so that I can actually organize them properly. So tenant management, planning, these are the actual modules of the application, and that makes that much smoother for me. Still trying to get used to layout. I installed a Atrium streaming a AITUM stream suite into OBS, and that gives me the multi-stream availability and the combined chat in an OBS plugin, so I can have YouTube working at the same time. In theory, actually, I should test that because people do sometimes watch on YouTube. So let's see if that works. Yeah, there you go. Okay. And that should. No, that doesn't come out on Twitch chat, but it does come out. So at least I have combined chat, if nothing else. And I'll work on the rest. But at least I can see YouTube chat as well, so that's good. Okay. Um, so that's what I'm using for multi-streaming, and that's what. Uh, yeah. Restream chat is a pain to join. I always struggle with it. So I was looking for something to do the combined chat, but I will continue my quest. Um, I found Restream IO chat to require a certain order things have to be started in before they'll actually connect properly. So I've struggled with that. But anyway, that's stream setup. We'll continue to evolve that. I do want to go back to wireless mics before the fall. I've just got to get the right USB hub set up for this. This machine doesn't have a lot of inputs. So because I don't like having the mic sat on the table on the desk. Sorry. Um, I kind of prefer the wireless mics, although I do have to remember to wash them, which is a constant problem to me. So anyway, so I have um, I have an issue. Then I think it's actually a leftover issue from before I actually um, made changes. I don't think I ever went back through registering a tenant after I'd made all the changes to go back to Postgres. So this is obviously the first time I'm starting everything up again. I've got to create new tenants. I've got to create everything all over again. All that data is lost. I'm not worried about that. I think it's a good thing to keep rebuilding and testing on different machines because it does mean that I start to refine the development experience. I understand what out the box development looks like. Overall, with only a few things, this now should run. I should be able to check this out on that dev machine as well if I need to and build and run it and everything would work. Or I can check it out of the remote host, do it that way. Again, the remote host development has two benefits. First, I can put this box in another room, so if I do have power issues still, I can host this in a different room and then keep the power low in this room. And second, I can now also go and sit in a different room on a laptop and do some development without having to worry about checking everything out. Does everything build? And did I push these changes, etc.? All the changes will be in one place. So there's a lot of pros there. Okay, so um, So anyway, yeah, I think I have a leftover issue, and I'm trying to debate. I'm trying to decide how I should handle um, that. And Frank, I didn't say hello to you. I apologize. Thank you for coming on in. Um, I said hello to maybe. I don't think I just said hello to maybe. I said whatever. I said hello to Delta and Canny at the beginning, but thank you. I don't think I actually said hello. I'm getting caught up in the actual stream part of it. So I have an issue when I'm trying to register a new tenant. So let's see if we can get to that point first. Uh, well, do I not have Chrome installed? I do not have Chrome installed yet. Get Chrome installed. So one thing I had actually started to get used to is having a profile for running dev so that I had complete isolation from my personal stuff, which I think is a good idea. um, Not that I do search anything I'm not willing to show on stream, but at the same time, it's more if I show private information, etc. Having the the different profiles for the browsers does help. Uh, so I'm just getting my password. I do have it. Yes. Take me 3 hours to type in. Did I get it right? Oh, I got it right first go. First time. It's like fixing your blog. There you go. Okay, so does this add new profile? Stay signed out. Go that. No, go that one. Okay. So this way we have a development profile. How are you fixing your blog? You mean you're cleaning it up? As in, look back at my old articles and deleting most of them. I was looking for nuggets of wisdom. Adding more images, making it look better. Adding more articles. Nice. I mean, it's always interesting to look back on the way you approach things or the way you thought of things and reflect on why have you changed? What have you actually what evolved in your thinking, in your approach. Um, I think it's always very useful to do that. Um, yeah, it's that to show. To show. See, Marcy, hello. How you doing? Yeah, I was thinking it's very useful to reflect back on where you are now to where you were as a developer. Something about startup environments is not needed. Honestly, just bad learning from startups. I don't think. I think shifter. I don't think there's necessarily a there's a bad experience, and I think the only bad lesson you have there is if you don't learn anything at all from it. Let me just close this one down. This is not working the way I want it to. It should start and things should function. I would not like to ping Google Chrome's my taskbar. Thank you. This guy, G. I think we are the sum of our experience, right? So the things I've learned, the things I've gone through, the things that have worked for me aren't the same things that work for you, and we've learned different things from those experiences. I think it thinks it's running. That's the problem. Okay. What I did is I shut the things down. I shut the dev machine down, but the stream machine, but didn't shut down the remote. I to show stop. So it's very strange for me working on a remote environment. So everything is here runs on the the host machine. It doesn't run on this local machine. Uh, script start debug. Nothing's showing as if it's not running. That should be running. I at least had the landing page yesterday. Control tower, I want to get to today if I can, because control tower needs a lot of the same changes to deal with the remote dev system. What I've been trying to do is make sure that as I've made the changes, that it will still support local dev in the event I want to do local dev. Obviously, if someone else checks this out, they can't. They might not be in a position to remote dev. So, sorry, I'm just trying to struggle through. Well, this is what streaming is, right? Streaming is struggling through. I think what this is probably this is running. Uh, it's Smee's running. Kill minus 9. 8. 7. Okay, let's see if that runs now. Oh, there it is. Lovely. Thank you very much for the follow. Welcome in. I'm just trying to see if things are running. I can't show the screen because if I show the screen, I'll share a key. Uh, doing good. How are you? So this should be, and it was yesterday, running here. Let's see if we can do. So all this should be is npm start run. Ah, no. Run. What am I up to? So right now I am trying to get uh my project management application up and running again. It's Kaizu.io. This is what I'm trying to work on. Recently I've switched my entire stream and build setup. So I am trying to make sure that that is all configured before I take on any actual more development. It's a large .NET application. Oh, I don't have all the things you realize you don't have. I don't have the diagram anymore. I have to figure that out. The diagram is everything. What I'm trying to do right this second is I'm trying to make sure things are actually starting up. We do need the diagram. We can't not have a diagram, right? I haven't checked in. I just need to download. Not insomnia. It works, right? Start. Is it npm run start instead of start run? Yes, there we go. Okay, there we go. Okay, so pretty much. Okay, so if we want to sign off, this would be get Winkle. Um, uh, this would be one second. Just need to get something confirmed. Okay. Okay, so morning, Darren. How you doing? We have that. I don't know why I'm worried about that because I know this is going to fail. So this will be Winkling. 123 Main Street, Hoboken, New Jersey. Register. So that's going to fail. And that's understood that will fail. And we'll see a 500. Registration failed. So, make sure it's failing for the right reasons. Did it get to? So I've made things a little bit. I'm doing okay. I'm doing okay. I'm happy to be developing again, which is good. Um, Streaming, we'll see. um, so I don't like this. You configure a resource in Aspire. I need to see if I can hide it from this because it's not actually a public resource. This is the connection string for this to use. And that's the weird thing for me right the second. Tenant management API. Okay, you are receiving logs. And last night when I was working on this, I was getting, it's not going to happen. Let's see if it even, I don't think it's even getting this far. That's the thing. Actually, let's start with API Gateway. I don't think it's even getting this far yet. No, it's not even getting to the router. So, oh, that's why. When you, um, this needs to, will that work? No, it won't run there because it's not. It's not. I need to forward everything automatically. So I've restarted this machine. So I've disconnected that piece. When this is communicating, it's communicating with localhost. But localhost in this instance is not actually running on my localhost. It's running on the remote dev machine. So what I need to do is forward all traffic from 4200 localhost to the backend that's actually running on uh, the machine. So um, how do I do that? So um, forward traffic. Um, I've got to figure out how to do this quickly. I don't know how to do this. So basically, when I make a request from the client, so the client is running, and apparently it runs in localhost anyway. So it is running. I think that means that's running on my machine. Um, but when it makes a request to the backend service, localhost 7285, that's actually not running on this machine. It's running on the dev machine, on the how do I term it? I've got to figure this out how to term it because I'm not used to talking about it in these terms. Because technically the dev machine is the remote host at this point. I am just using this as a kind of streaming machine and portal. Again, to keep the resources under control. Um, this only has 64 gig in it. Once Kaizu and all those subsequent parts are running, Docker, etc., it takes up a lot more memory. Uh, that's primarily down to development environments, not actually down to Kaizu itself. So now Docker and all this is running on that other box, which has more memory. Uh, so what I got to figure out is how do I forward that port? Uh, I'm not tunneling. So 7285, which is the destination here. Again, so create account, Jeffrey Winkle. Um, Proceed, Winkle Inc. No thanks. So see that went to 7285, and because this is running in my browser, it's trying to go to my local machine 7285, which is clearly not there yet. So I need to set up something that I can run permanently. Uh, maybe I don't. Maybe I just do. Uh, that'll So what I need to do is set up 7285 devstation local 7285. So I need something like that, I believe. I don't like that it logs me in, but apparently that now tunnels. That creates a tunnel. So this should behave differently now. Or not. Actually the same problem. So the idea there is that would forward anything on local 7285 to devstation local 7285 and using that account. That's the theory. Connecting to 5433 locally, forward traffic securely to the Postgre database on is any application configured to connect to will actually be communicating. Do I need to restart it just to make sure? Yeah, that should be run start. That should be the equivalent. That should have done this. Oh, great account. Start that again then, shall I? I'll know this by the end of it. No. Copy. Wrinkle in random now. Oh, it's just erroring. It's probably not very readable either. Thanks. Basically, that's acting as if it can't connect. So, but it should get to here, and it's not. Uh, localhost is not localhost. I did this the other day and it worked fine. I have got further. What localhost? Okay, gateway ports. Dynamic port forwarding. Hmm. Has anyone done this before, where you've had to have the localhost forward to the actual dev machine? I thought I did. I did do this the other day with this, and I thought that was all I needed to do. Oh, connection refused. That's interesting. Does that do that every time? Yes. Interesting. Stereotypical is when I say something is established, but the remote side refuses the forwarding connection because nothing is listing on the target port. Oh, but that's kind of that, isn't it? Stop that running. So I did have to create an Aspire cleanup script. So when I do the remote stuff, things don't always shut down properly. So before everything runs, it runs this at the beginning, which I'm not a fan of, but it does seem to work. I have more consistent starts with that. I think a lot of what I'm going to experience here is basically because of the complexity of the application. If you are new and you are interested in asking questions, you're more than welcome to ask me any questions about this. I'm happy to talk about it. I don't develop a lot on stream. Um, a lot of stuff gets done off stream, but yeah, I'm always happy to talk about what the project is, why I'm doing it. I'm hoping I can get this up and running enough to get into this by the end of this stream. Um, but things like this make me less than confident. This is running fine. It's not that that's the problem. Connection refused. Connection refused. Um, so 7285 is uh, so exit. So 7285 is the API, right? So it is uh, the API gateway. You have to ignore. So 7285 is the gateway. You have to ignore ports that have that aspire shows for other things. When you go into it, Aspire is kind of doing its own thing internally. So you see it listening on ports that don't seem right, but it actually is doing it on 7285. So that is that. That's all up and running. You can make sure I have config. Oh, I think IP config's a thing. No, it's not. Uh, where's the 198? Okay. So 192.168.1.198. I don't think that'll be it. Yeah. Open 3. Connection failed. So it's not getting here. Now, I have had it getting here because I've had this fail at a database level. So I'm not sure why that's now. The error typically is when an SSH tunnel is established, but the remote side refuses the forwarded connection because nothing is listening on the target port. In this case, the SSH tunnel is set up, but when it tries to connect, net start. So if we do net start TLNP pipe to grep 7285, it's listening with the DCP. Yeah, so Aspire is listening for that on 7285. If one's the correct host. So let's get trying to follow ports. Try and give it enough information. Take the command around just to make sure. Let's give that a go. So here now, a spontaneous meeting appeared when you start the stream. Hope you're doing well. Hope Bug Monster isn't going to try. Hi, Canny. Thank you. Welcome in. I don't suppose this is bugs. I think this is me working out the kinks and learning the lessons of getting SSH development set up. So far, not bad. So I'm running in an Ubuntu 26.04. I said 0.04 there, but 2604. Yes, to keep the power settings under control. So I can have an air conditioning unit running to my left here. So I'm running an Ubuntu 2604 server with on a Ryzen AI Max 395 with 128 gig on it. Purpose being that I can have this running in a different machine, in a different room, sorry, if I need to. So if I have the power problems still, I can do that. And then I have a framework. This Windows machine is a framework, same CPU, just 64 gig running it. So yeah, remote development is a dream. What I'm struggling with right this second is I seem to have channel problems with my port forwarding for this. Your forwarder is pointing, but the DCP is on listening on. Nothing is bound on the LAN interface. So the connection is refused. There we go. Okay. So what I'm saying is, I don't want that. I want that. It's that machine, not this machine. Oh, lucky. Give me a different issue. Okay, so we got 500. And yeah, now I'm about to roll. Okay, so yeah, we see the post, register route. It got through to tenant management API where it errored, and there's the error. Okay, cool. Lesson learned. Yes. There we go. Thank you. That is what I was missing. Um, I have to make sure that goes in. So, because of the distributed nature of even my development here, I'm struggling to figure out how to document all the little pieces I need to to getting things up and running. And in general, things are more out of the box now than they were, but still building on that. Relation address does not exist. So I believe this is a leftover of my switch to Postgres. I don't think I actually created a new tenant after switching to Postgres. So this is a failing on me to not verify that things were behaving. So everything was working on SQL Server perfectly fine. I could register tenants, everything worked. But I think that I missed something in my configuration for Postgres. My challenge right this second is trying to figure out. So this suggests that relation address does not exist. So the way this works is I create a tenant. A tenant has addresses associated with it. A tenant address is not an actual address, it's a link between the tenant and the address. Therefore, if I have the same address in there every time, I don't need to create, if I register multiple tenants in the same building with the same address, I don't have to have that address in there 8 times or more or whatever. So what I think is happening is this link is not being respected. Now, I did have let's have a look. Issue. I'm just going to ask Claude in isolation before I ask Claude on the machine that has context of the code. I have set up Claude in a Docker container that I can run against this application and ask questions. I do not intend to use it for development. Not for the not for the back end. Sorry, I just want to use it for learning and growth. I have an issue with well, I'm asking it out without context of the data, the code, so it doesn't make any leaps and gives me a kind of pointer towards what sort of issues I might experience that I might be experiencing that stuff. So the way the code is working when it actually does this, registering in the organization, it goes into register tenant, and that creates a new tenant and then associates a new address with that tenant. An associate address just creates a new, adds to the collection of tenant addresses that address with this tenant, so it will get an ID in there. Relational algebra term for a table. It has nothing to do with the core relationships. So the error means Postgres can't find a table name address in the search path. Oh dear. That was the right thing to do, I think. It didn't pluralize it. That's key. Okay, go to K. So yeah. Hello, how you doing? Welcome in. Let's see if it was that dumb. If that's how dumb I am, that's awesome. It would track. So tenant management, tables, addresses. If it's looking for address, that does make sense, doesn't it? So the configuration missing there makes perfect sense. Come on. That's what that script's going to do. It's going to clean things up. So if that was assuming address, that would make perfect sense. Register tenant service does not take a constructor. What? Interesting. Interesting. That was running still. Worry about that in a second. Build unit tests. They're all tests as well. They need to be cleaned up. I'm not sure that startup script is actually strictly necessary. I think that if I stop and then immediately start the application stack again, it hasn't cleaned up all the ports, etc. I think I need to give that a second between restarts. This HTTPS warning is driving me crazy, but I have trusted certificates. I have followed Microsoft's directions on how to do that. So I'm still trying to figure out what it means to do that as well. Okay, so we have things should be up and running. Console, register. My goodness me. Almost there. We're not almost there, by the way. We've got a long way to go. Reference, that's what was received. So verify a link would verify that. Right now, that doesn't do very much. Right. Yes, we have validated dev mail. Lipsky, hello. How you doing? I'm Mojo. Good morning. So if we hit that now, we can sign in. inbound dot. Do you think I'd remember this one already? Devmail.email. Devmail.email. Continue without passkeys. So that should sign me in. No, apparently not. Unable to resolve service for type I configuration. Find out what that was. How's everyone doing this morning? The M platform, this intrigues me. Yes, I have a general dislike for Jira, etc., and I have my own opinions on how things should be done. It would be nice to be able to show it off, but I am in the middle of trying to um, uh, get this running on a new dev machine. This is the rough idea of what I'm building. So I'm able to resolve. View infrastructure WebSocket off. Ah, why am I trying to do? Ah, when I add the secret into, that's the key. Come on, it's fine. Frank, thank you very much for coming and hanging out. Enjoy your breakfast and have a great day. We use Monday and I simply tolerate it. Yeah. So the way I'm doing this is very much on, I'm focusing very much on visibility and providing the tools needed for the people who do the actual work. So um, it doesn't really demonstrate it very clearly off here because it's been a while since I updated this. But the idea is that product management kind of work in the initiatives and planning pieces. They work in the, hey, here's what we want, and here's here's how we want it done, or here's the pieces we want, here's what we expect to see, etc. And then the development teams can take on the implementation pieces and build out tasks for those things. So it's not a, hey, here's a story, keep everything in this non-technical story, but kind of figure it out. It's here's the deliverable that we want, and here's the requirements of that deliverable. Now, how do we implement that is handled by the developers building out all the tasks or the DevOps, etc. So a single deliverable can have DevOps pieces, development pieces, and DBA pieces all attached to it, and they all kind of join back up. So, oh, we're making progress on this thing, things aren't moving. And then from the implementation perspective, working sprints or whatever. And then delivery is, hey, these tasks make up this deliverable, this actual delivery. And so a deliverable from planning could span many deliveries, but you'd be able to see them. And one of my key goals here is making sure that people can be alerted to things not happening or happening when they want, so that they are able to avoid those, hey, let's have a meeting to talk about this, right? So, uh, yeah. So implementation wise, as you're working on stuff, you can see the branches, you can see commits, etc. From a delivery perspective, you can see PRs and pull requests being merged or cancelled, etc. And yeah, so I'm working towards that. I actually do have a almost full flow through initiatives to delivery at this point, with some exceptions on things, and then I need to move to more alerting and notification pieces. But right now, I'm in the process of trying to get the application back up and running again, because that's the kind of key thing. What I should have done there is paid attention. Um, Thank you for the alert, Sally. What I should have done there is paid attention to where that error was occurring. So now when the app host starts up, it defines a secret, the parameter default, and that secret is passed in through the app modules. So the app modules don't have to. Oh, I know where the problem was. Uh, Hi Viper, how you doing? I think I am missing view infrastructure receivers, entity changes. I think we need that there. No, do we? Uh, View is still the worst. Project is doing okay right this second. It does have a policy, but doesn't do with internal auth. That would make sense. Let's see. So yeah, the secret is defined when the application starts up, so there's nothing that can leak, and any developer checking this out doesn't have to worry about defining the secret. That it's all added in by Aspire. Again, my problem right now is what I'm doing is I'm basically making it so that you cannot run individual services, which does bug me from a development and debugging perspective, because you have to have the entire stack started up to be able to test and run. Sign in. Oh, set. Ah, same problem. View infrastructure WebSocket auth. View infrastructure. What? Yeah, that's not. That means I missed a commit. That means I missed a commit. So this is removed right a second because this is not. I think I missed a commit. Or I'm running the wrong thing. That would also do the thing. So this code here, I need to remove this anyway. So this is actually a layer to do to authorize a WebSocket for GraphQL, not for SignalR, which I was missing anyway. I was missing the key in the SignalR piece to do the authentication, but authorization. But yeah, so I need to remove the GraphQL piece because initially I was using GraphQL WebSockets with GraphQL to with GraphQL, uh, so that I could have uh, push notifications down to the client. Now I am doing. Sorry, something is not. Worry about that later. Okay. Unable to resolve. So this is still erroring. Let's suck it off. Middleware. So, come on. Let's see where it's looking for eye configuration now. Oh, there. Let's see. So where did you get the inspiration from to develop this project management platform? So I have been a developer for a long time. I have used many different tools for tracking work. The tool I've used the most of is Jira. And I don't like, I find myself always disliking the amount of I find myself disliking the alignment of our process of development with the tool that's trying to help organize what we're building. And I feel that the processes that have evolved have been very much to help the business at the cost of the developer. And I think that we oftentimes get lost in the rules. I'm air quoting that because, you know, we you might have heard you can't have a technical story. It has to have value. It has to be whatever. And we get stuck in these things, and less experienced teams don't often see value in delivering a little piece of something. They see value in, oh, we've got a screen up and running, so the stories get too big or whatever. And then there's a lack of communication or things work. So I am very much a believer in just getting pieces worked on and done, which is ironic considering the way I've developed some of this stuff. But that's a whole different contradiction. Come on. Okay, sign in, accept. Uh, so there's a misalignment between the business and the development team, right? So it's not aligned for the development team and more aligned for the business development side. Yes, that's kind of how I see it very much. So development teams are oftentimes focused on trying to fit what they do inside of what a product team expects. And I think it's okay for a product team to say, hey, I want a new screen to do this, right? That new screen doesn't have to be delivered in one story. However, development teams often try and find that. And then if there's things like a DevOps requirement or a DBA requirement, etc., those requirements aren't individually tracked. They're kind of coordinated and communicated as part of that larger story. So what I want to do is increase that visibility by allowing the development teams to be able to. So again, implementation wise, here's the tasks. So in Jira, you could do a story and then task it out, right? But those tasks aren't always clear, and those might actually be in completely different teams, in completely different boards. So how do you align those things, right? So this is kind of the way I've gone. And now, as I've been developing this, because I've been developing this for the last couple of years, there's a lot of changes that have gone into Jira that do support more of what didn't exist when I started this idea. But my initial idea came from a single phrase, which was passing the ball. It's the ability for that's the ability for someone to say, hey, now this is in your this is what you need to be working on now, and here's where things are, and knowing that from the actual state of the management software. So I'm very much focused on trying to make sure that there's no communication necessary for most things, so that all communication that is necessary is valid communication. So um, maybe Jira devs work, maybe. And honestly, I did say when I first started this, I don't care. The reason I'm developing it in public is if there are ideas in here that are useful and they do get picked up and used in other things, I'm perfectly fine with that. If it helps developers develop software and product teams get what they need without a lot of noise and a lot of time wasted in meetings, I'm happy. I'm more than happy to deal with that. So yeah. Um, so what I'm questioning right this second is, do I have an issue? So the way that Kaizu works, so Kaizu consists of two parts: Liquid Sky, which is the application, and Control Tower, which is the management system for Kaizu. So tenant management, ultimately that would be billing and all those other things that would be there. When you create a new subscription, uh, dev station local 8080 white screen incoming. Um, sorry, no dark mode. When you create a new subscription, um, schema registry topics, you create a new tenant. Sorry, yes. The control tower system says, "Hey, you have a new tenant. I need to provide you a subscription, a default subscription." And that is what's produced there. So the control tower piece needs to acknowledge that and register it. So there's a differential between the current management system you're currently using and your new system you've been working on developing for years, as you mentioned. Again, the difference is how I'm approaching the things, and I'll be able to demonstrate that more as I actually start to get the app up and running again. But again, the idea is a product management team defines deliverables. They define, here's what I want delivered, and here's the requirements of that deliverable. So there's actually a structure for. I don't know if this necessarily demonstrates that very well. So it hasn't, yes. Well, these two machines between them only take about 200 watts of power. 200, 250 watts of power, whereas the other machine had an 850 watt power supply, which I was kind of running up to. So, or at least 500 watts. So it definitely has less power. But anyway, so the idea is that a product team would define a deliverable as part of a larger initiative, and they define on there. And I definitely don't show it in here, but maybe that's an initiative. Yeah, that's all initiatives. This is old. This is a previous version, but anyway, they define a deliverable. A deliverable has a goal, and it has requirements, and those requirements have kind of acceptance criteria against them. And then the development team takes those requirements and says, "Oh, here's what we need to achieve this requirement," and they build those out as the traceable things that do link back to the requirements, but they don't necessarily become front and center. So yeah. Um, so yeah, it's that's a slight difference. It's where they're tracked. It's not that Jira can't do the tasking part; it can. It's where they're tracked, and you could have again multiple teams on multiple boards having the tasks that all relate back to one deliverable. So it's kind of the way I'm focusing that information. Uh, the the development aspects don't get made visible clearly to the deliverable piece. The deliverable is, hey, here's where we are with this. 50% of stuff's been done, etc. So yeah, that's what I'm kind of focused on. And again, delivery. There's a full GitHub integration now, so as branches are created, you can see a branch is outstanding or merged, etc. So you can define a release, and those things. You can see where the release is. So release management is actually a thing as well. My main machine takes 400 watts when I'm gaming. That's 4 times 4 terabytes. 4090 taking 400 watts. Isn't that like the startup cost for a 4090? It's a 600-watt graphics card. You're not using the 4090 if you use a 400 watts. So either way. So what I'm trying to figure out second is sign in. So let's go to application. This is something I need to remove as well. This is a security problem. I know that much. Uh, Interesting. That's very interesting. Well, oh, don't forget as well, maybe 110 volt. So I know that doesn't change the uh, very much, but it does change. I see a screenshot that's on two MS ones, Threadripper, main PC, NASA stream machine on my U. Nice, cool. Okay, so let's try signing in again. Why are you doing that? You shouldn't. You shouldn't have done that. You should have asked me to log in again. I've just cleared out. It does make a difference to the amperage to get the same watts, right? You have to use fewer amps to get the power you need. Yes. Um, yes. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. If I need 400 watts, then you have 400 watts. I'm rich, I'll find out with that. Okay, fair enough. Uh, okay, so nothing is. Oh, copying the upgraded request, but it was cancelled. That's a different problem. Sign in. How are you? I didn't say remember me. It's creating the tokens. Everything's things are working. Things are off. I've got a feeling I have to get this up and running. Stoney, hello. How you doing? Just in time. Okay, so this actually is probably the point at which I need to get Control Tower up and running because I need the token to. So the way this works is when I go to sign in, and this may or may not be a problem. I thought I would see the application and get sent to the settings screen, but I realized I haven't tested that in a while, so maybe it is actually stopping me from getting beyond that. So the idea is that a subscription would get created in Control Tower um, based upon that tenant existing from Kafka. That will then feed back to say, yep, this person is allowed to access the application. I won't give me my permissions until I don't think. So the organization would be registered. Interesting organization. No, the tenant is registered. Yeah, there's Winkling. Yeah. Wow, it got busy. Hi, Rorona. Welcome in. So yeah, thank you for the follow. Viper, thank you for the follow as well. Appreciate it. Rorona, thank you for the follow. So I need to make some changes to this application now. So again, um, yeah, it takes a long time to boil a kettle in this country. um, so I need to go through and make all the same changes to um, Control Tower as I did into Kaizu, into Liquid Sky. Not very often. I don't make it very often. You still boil a kettle, it just takes a lot longer. So on uh, so the challenge becomes when this is all starting up, the it's not actually running locally, so all the URLs, all the configuration needs to change. The database connection strings, etc., aren't relevant, right? So they'll have to be pointing at the right machine. So yeah, Manet's hello. So what I did in Liquid Sky is everything becomes managed by uh, all the connection strings are there now. So this can start everything up. Don't worry, the password's not going to cause me a problem. Um, and all the modules are defined in here, so everything gets configured. So the individual services, sorry, not with reference. When I go in and define a module, I'll say, hey, go and get the connection string, and now pass that reference down to that. So now the connection strings are all managed from within here, and I don't have to have the password. The reason being, the primary reason being, is actually the way that I configure the database. I can actually fix this pretty quickly. Actually, this might work. I think it might have been the way I would chose to do that on the other side. Let's try. Let's see what happens. No, not the gateway. The outpost. Okay, so that's running. So we might actually have. If I go back to topics, subscriptions. No. Things are not all working fine. The data is mostly relational. Most of the systems are held inside of relational databases. The Mongo, which I do have working, by the way, on an older version, is actually storing things like um, uh, changes in documents that are not necessarily easily schema bound. They can be. It can be done. I'm not saying it can't, but it's oh, okay. Yeah, yeah. I probably have a few changes to make here. like port all this to. Sounds like a very complex architecture. Well, it is the architecture I chose. If it's too complex, that's fine. I have another question. Why are all your files on the right side? Because I prefer my Solution Explorer on the right side. I'm not a left-hand weirdo. And Visual Studio Solution Explorer was traditionally on the right-hand side. That's where I came from. That's what I used for a long time. So it makes sense for me to be on the right. So yeah. So the problem is here migrated I have migrated the database scripts. The tables are in place, but the code is kind of lacking in the fact that I have um yeah. I have neglected to update control tower. This is always the problem. No, 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 no. Our new hire immediately went to put it to the right. So our new hire did that without any insight from me. So just saying, I'm not the only weirdo. It's not an old person thing because our new hire is not old. Claude is on my right. Yeah. Huh? you 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 people with your left hand aligned. I don't know. I find it very difficult to read the code if there's something to the side of it. When it's all down the left hand side, I am more comfortable. It's really hard to read that when that's shifted over here. It's the way my brain works, and if it's broken, it's broken. Either way, um, I have a lot more work to do. So I need to port all this to use Postgres. I failed to do that. And this is the problem with building a system of this complexity. Um, right. It is not the goal of this was never to try and do it quickly. The goal of this was to build the system I wanted to build, both um, functionally and architecturally. Right. This is the system that I dreamed up. This is a system that I want to build. If you think it is too complex or overcomplicated, that is perfectly fine. You're welcome to think that. It is the system that I am learning a lot from, and I am growing a lot from. So, however, it does come with a cost in that as a solo developer, this is insanity. A solo developer should never develop anything like this for real because it is just too much, too many moving parts, and this is highlighting that. I have ported the database structure over to use Postgres. I have not ported the code to use Postgres. So I need to go in here. Um, you should try that. She's 100% try it. I didn't use Control P. Hide it. So, uh, the stoic. um, so next you're suggesting I put it over to the left anyway, and then just use Control P to hide it, so I have the flicker when I'll need to use the navigation. Still not working for me. Certain things I am not changing on, and that is I will not. Uh, did you swear again? Yeah. The the chat. I think that's strange because that side is already covered with others. Yeah. Oh well. Well, I also need to get a chat module back in, don't I? So it's saved on the stream. Anyway, only on that side. Yeah, tiny me, like a little gnome. That is me. This is the important stuff on the stream. This down here is not important stuff. If I didn't know that it changed the way that people view the stream, I would not have the camera on. But the camera definitely changes, especially the way I talk. What's on my shirt? It is the 18 van. BA's van from the 18. It is a good shirt. Control Shift End. New projects. You can interest me with a shirt with the bear on it. I will buy a shirt with the bear on it. Just make them. Especially Sherlock Holmes bear. If you get a mug or a shirt with a Sherlock Holmes bear on it, I will purchase one. Not visited yet. I would highly recommend checking out Maybe's application. Does this work? Maybe does sometimes stream. No, that just says maybe on the stream. That's awesome. Good job. Maybe builds barely fit. And if you're interested in application development and you're interested in a different type of application, you are advised to go and check out maybe streams. Yeah, sadly. Hopefully for not very long, but it will be good to have the streams back as well. So there you go. You'll get this. So highly recommend checking out maybe. Okay. However, I have run over by almost 10 minutes. I need to do some code changes to make this work with with Postgres. There's quite a lot involved in doing that because there's different libraries, different configurations. I have to make some changes to make sure that so all this does work with Entity Framework still. So there is a lot of stuff that does work. There are some things that make this. I also can fix all these eventually. There are some other things I need to do, like with snake-based conventions. So what I've done is I've made it so that I can still use all the regular conventions for tables and names, etc. And then when it actually builds it, it'll be, no, you're always good. I'm always happy with the chat. I just run over. So I do have some pieces in there. Uh, with making sure all the casing's correct. So if I do transition back to SQL Server, all the naming matches. So yeah, it's so that I can refer to the things in the right way. So yeah. Anyway, yeah, Barely Fit is awesome. It is a great app. I recommend checking it out. Food tracking, maybe has been working on a lot of improvements to the food database, a lot of value add to the actual process. So it's not just about tracking your exercise, it's about tracking your food and all those things. And it is a really solid app. So I would highly recommend checking it out. So, yeah. Guest speaker for stand up. Yeah, and our stand ups would last longer. Anyway, that is me for now. I do have to disappear. I will turn into a pumpkin. We are going to raid. I believe there's enough people in here. Yeah, there's a few people watching today. Thank you very much for the support. Thank you for coming back. Thank you for the chat. I appreciate it. If you are new here, please, there is a link to Discord in the cards below. You're more than welcome to join, hang out, chat, share your projects, your opinions on software. They're always welcome, even if they're wrong. Um, we need more developers streaming. Um, Dylan is the only developer not doing game dev. I won't raid you into that one. Okay, we're going to raid Dylan. It's a shame not to send in so many people somewhere. So thank you very much for joining me. Thank you for coming back. Everyone does do game dev, yeah, except me. I was struggling last night to find someone to watch. So have a great rest of your day. I will be back. I'll get into a regular schedule again next week. And thanks for joining me. Take care, all. And I have no stream links, so this is interesting. Where's my? I have no scene list. This is abysmal. Anyway, thank you all. Take care. See you soon.